So I have a couple things to help. So that I have the diagram, but also this is like a model showing the digestive tract. I'll hold this up and show you at the same time. So if we start, it's not shown here, but obviously, like we said, digestion starts in the mouth with mechanical digestion of chewing food, saliva starting to chemically digest the food, and then down the esophagus. Esophagus empties into the stomach, and the stomach's kind of on the left side, tucked underneath the liver. It's filled with that hydrochloric acid. It's protected by mucus so that it's not damaged by the acid. And once the food has been liquefied, basically, in the stomach, it can then move into the small intestine. Small intestine winds around inside the abdomen, about 25 feet in an adult. The pancreas, the gallbladder are adding digestive enzymes there to further break down the food. Also, as the food moves through this long tube, nutrients are being absorbed into our blood, the useful parts of the foods that we eat. Eventually, food makes that entire journey and it's fully digested. Everything of value has been absorbed. All the nutrients have been absorbed. And the last step is back into the large intestine, which again is wider than the small intestine, but shorter. And the large intestine comes up the right side of our abdomen, okay, across our body. Oops, what did I do? Then down, down the left side of our body, and then eventually out. All right. And eventually into the large intestine, which comes up, cross, over, and down. By the time it's in the large intestine, anything of value is gone. All that's left is the stuff that could not otherwise be digested. Things like fiber from plant matter that we eat. And then that's eliminated through the rectum. Along the way, we have the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas. Food doesn't go through them, but they are important because they produce those enzymes and those materials that help break down the food. This is from the body's exhibit. I don't think, you don't have this slide, right?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you do? Okay, so this is from the body's exhibit again, where they've shown different parts of humans that have been preserved. This is a digestive tract of a person. You got, again, the esophagus, stomach, then the long, small intestine winding around, eventually leading to the large intestine and out of the body. The liver's up here. Pancreas is just in between the stomach and the beginning of the small intestine. So there you see what the parts actually look like. It's hard to label, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So any questions about the digestive system? So yeah?
Like, if at the end, if all the food is gone, then like, how do you get fat?
Because
How does that happen?
Because when you have excess energy, so when you eat food, you get energy from it. Okay, certain, that's what calories are. Calories tell me how much energy are you getting out of the food you eat. So you use up energy all the time, just by being alive, by moving, by walking. Even when you're asleep, you're using energy. And so you're burning those calories. Now, if you consume, let's say, 2,500 calories in a day worth of food, that's how much energy you're getting. But you only are burning 2,000 calories of energy a day, while you have 500 extra calories of energy. And so our bodies are equipped to take that extra energy and store it away. And the way we store it is as body fat. Just like when the frog was eating a lot in the spring. Oh, we didn't talk about that, did we? Oh, yeah. When the frog's eating a lot in the spring, it stores up its extra energy in fat bodies in its abdomen. Mammals do the same thing, but they store it as body fat, a layer of fat underneath our skin. if the opposite is true, let's say you only consume 1,500 calories, but you're burning off 2,000 calories, well, there's a gap. You burned off more calories than you took in. So those extra 500 calories that we're missing, your body takes from stored fat in your body and uses them from there. And so there's that balance of energy coming in and energy being expended. And that's where that fat comes from. All right, let's talk about our next system, the excretory system. Okay. So the word excretion means to get rid of waste. Our body, our cells, are constantly producing waste products. Nitrogen waste, carbon dioxide waste, and other things. And these waste products, if they were to build up in our body, would basically poison us. They're toxic in high concentrations. So our body has organs and organ systems that help to get rid of these materials. And that system is the excretory system. Okay? It's how our bodies get rid of waste. Things like exhaling carbon dioxide, urinating, sweating. Those are ways our body is getting rid of some of these products. The kidneys are one of the major excretory organs. Our kidneys are sort of towards the back of our body, on either side of our spine. Okay? And we have two kidneys. They both function same time. This is a sheep kidney I'm going to pass around. If you've ever heard of a kidney bean or seen a kidney bean, they're named that. They look just the exact same shape as an actual kidney. So I'll pass this around and look at it. Just don't like squish it. And so the kidneys, all the blood in our body, as it goes to our cells, our blood picks up waste. And again, if it built up, it would be toxic to us. So that blood eventually goes to our kidneys, and our kidneys can remove that waste from our blood. That's the job of our kidneys, to remove toxins, mix it with some water, and that's what urine is. Urine is a mixture of water and these toxins that our kidneys have removed. So the blood comes into the kidney in an artery, sort of loops around. Our kidneys take away these waste products, mix them with some water, and send them to a different tube. The blood that has then been cleaned out can go back into circulation because the waste products have been removed. Kira, you have a question? Yeah, let's talk about that in like 5 minutes, okay? If you have a question about kidney disease or living without a kidney, I'll answer those questions just another minute or two. So our kidneys remove these toxins, mix them with some water, and that's what urine is. That urine from our kidneys that they're producing goes through a tube, one from each kidney, called the ureter. Our kidneys produce like a constant drip of urine into the ureter, and those ureters bring that urine into our urinary bladder, where it gets stored up for a while. And so our bladder stores this urine. Eventually, as it gets fuller and fuller of urine, it sends a signal to our brain, a nerve impulse, saying, hey, the bladder is getting filled up here. You better find a bathroom. Okay. And when we do that, we can then release that urine from the urinary bladder. It goes through a single tube called the urethra. Carries that urine out of the body to the toilet, hopefully. And so what that urine is a mixture of just water and waste products. So here, see in the diagram, we have two kidneys, one on each side. They both work. They both produce urine. Goes down the ureter, stored in the urinary bladder, and then out of the body through the urethra. So basically the way the kidneys work is as our blood is circulating around to our cells, it's picking up the waste from the cells. That blood makes its way to the kidneys. They actually remove much of the waste, turn it into urine, and then the filtered out clean blood can go back into circulation. So we have two kidneys. Talk a little bit about kidney disease. You can live just fine with a single kidney. Okay? If you have one kidney gets damaged, for example, the other kidney will sort of pick up the slack from the other one and filter your blood just fine. You can be perfectly healthy with a single kidney. And sometimes kidneys stop functioning. Sometimes the disease can attack the kidneys. Sometimes they can be damaged by different chemicals in the blood. Sometimes they can be damaged in an accident if you get hit in the kidneys. And so if a person has a damaged kidney, they can live with one. If a person has two damaged kidneys and neither one is working, that's a dangerous situation. Okay? Because their kidneys, if they're not filtering the blood, these toxins in our blood can build up and basically poison us. So if a person has no working kidneys, does anyone know what the ultimate solution to that is? Brandon?
Kidney transplant.
Yeah, a kidney transplant. A person can have a kidney from another person put into their body and connected to their body and use that as a one kidney. Sometimes people that have kidney disease might get that kidney from a family member. You know, for example, if one of my daughters had kidney disease and they need a kidney, I could donate one of mine to them. And because I still have one functioning kidney, I would be okay. And they would then have my donated kidney and they would be okay. Other times, people, when they pass away, become organ donors. And doctors will take an organ out of a person that recently died and they can actually keep it alive for a short period of time and transplant it into somebody that's in need of a kidney. There's a list of people that are in need of different organs, kidneys and livers and so forth. And so when a kidney becomes available, whether it's from an organ donor or somebody who was a match that's willing to donate a kidney, they quickly get that patient that needs the kidney ready for surgery. They get the kidney, they take it out of the person that's donating it, quickly get it to the hospital, okay, and they can attach it to the person that was in need. That's how all organ transplants work. Now, if a person has no functioning kidneys, they can be kept fairly healthy through a procedure called dialysis. Has anyone ever heard of dialysis? Okay, so it's a treatment in which you have to go to the doctor's office, or they sometimes have a home dialysis machine, and you have to go there every other day, or it depends on your situation, and they basically hook you up to a machine that takes the blood out of your body, runs through this dialysis machine. The dialysis machine removes these toxins, and then puts the clean blood back into you. But you have to do this constantly, or I mean every other day or whatever, because those toxins are always building up, so you have to go for dialysis to get rid of them until your kidneys regain function or until you get a transplanted kidney that will help permanently solve the problem. Jordan?
When my uncle died a few weeks ago, that was one of his causes.
Kidney
Because
disease?
His kidneys didn't function right,
Mm-hmm.
and they couldn't get his dialysis working either,
Yeah.
so that's why.
Yeah, so you need functioning kidneys, and again, if you don't have and dialysis working, then there's major problems. Grace?
My mom works at the side of home,
She does dialysis for patients, yeah. It's, pretty common, sometime in your life you'll know somebody that's going for dialysis, because kidney disease is a pretty common illness that affects people. Kiara?
What's a kidney stone?
So sometimes, were you going to ask the same question again? Sometimes in various parts of our, sometimes like in our gallbladder, often in the kidneys, little pieces of minerals get deposited, like little chunks of calcium. Sometimes tiny, tiny crystals of calcium just can be removed through the body in urine. But sometimes they start to build up and become larger, and then that becomes a problem because a large chunk of calcium, it's like a little stone, that's why it's called kidney stone, and if it gets stuck in the kidney, it has to move through a very thin ureter to get out of the body, and when it does that, it's extremely painful. If you ever known anybody that had kidney stones, it's very, very painful. And they have to make their way, they might be in the bladder then, and then they have to be expelled through the urethra. which again is a pretty narrow tube, which is really painful depending on the size of those kidney stones. Sometimes they try to break them up using sound waves and stuff. Lots of times that doesn't work, but sometimes it does. Okay, our skin and our lungs are also considered partially excretory organs. What do we get rid of through our skin? Ethan?
Sweat.
Sweat. What is sweat exactly?
Cooling down.
Yeah, it helps us cool us down, but also helps us get rid of some waste. Because sweat isn't just water, right? How does it feel when it gets in your eyes? Stings. How does it taste?
Why would you taste?
When it goes in your mouth, you're exercising, you get sweat in your mouth. Not that you're like. But anyway, yes, sweat has salts in it that our body's getting rid of. Or if you like play baseball or any sport and you have like you wear the same hat every day, after a while the inside of it gets like white crusty stuff on it. That's salt that's left over after the water part of your sweat evaporates. It also obviously helps cool us down. That's another function to maintain homeostasis. Grace?
When you cry, isn't there salt?
Yeah, your tears have salt as well. Our lungs also help us get rid of waste. What type of waste do our lungs get rid of, Ava? Rihanna?
Carbon dioxide.
Yeah. So the carbon dioxide our cells produce in respiration has to be removed from our body. And that happens through our lungs. The way this works is our lungs are filled with these tiny little air sacs. They look like clusters of grapes. They're called alveoli. And as the blood goes to our lungs, this blood that's high in carbon dioxide, as it goes right next to these alveoli, carbon dioxide can diffuse out. And then we can exhale that carbon dioxide. So our lungs help us to get rid of that carbon dioxide. And then finally, the respiratory system. This overlaps with the excretory system, because we just said our lungs help us get rid of carbon dioxide. Well, what else do they do? Just as important. Brandon? Yeah, they bring in oxygen. Okay? The respiratory system provides oxygen that our cells need for respiration and remove carbon dioxide from respiration. We breathe in and out, inflating and deflating our lungs, using a muscle. This muscle is stretched inside of our rib cage. It's called the diaphragm. And it's a muscle. When this muscle goes down, it creates a vacuum in our chest cavity, which causes our lungs to inflate. And then when that muscle relaxes, that's what allows us to exhale. Sometimes you might get the hiccups, and that muscle has a spasm, and that's what causes a hiccup. Sometimes you might fall or get hit in the back really hard, and your diaphragm gets temporarily kind of immobilized. What do we call that? You're getting the wind knocked out of you. Right? It's really scary. You feel like you can't breathe, like you're going to die. It only lasts for a few seconds usually, but it's a scary time because you try and breathe and you can't breathe. Brandon?
Like, what happens when you lose like one of your lungs, like your lung becomes like deflated?
Yeah, you can lose a part of a lung. A part of the lung could be damaged. You can live with one lung. You get less oxygen, but you need some parts of your lungs working. Yeah. So as we breathe in, the air we breathe in is about 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, 1% carbon dioxide. Then the air that we exhale, if you look, has about 17% oxygen, still 78% nitrogen, and 5% carbon dioxide. So obviously, as we exhale, we've added carbon dioxide, and we've absorbed oxygen from the air. But even the air you exhale still has oxygen in it. You can rebreathe the same air a few times and continue to get some oxygen. Why don't we finish up? We'll finish up the respiratory system tomorrow instead of rushing through here. And I'll give you your homework right now. I don't know. Who else should I put? I don't want to scare you guys. Yeah.